Welcome to the podcast, HASSDISCUSSES. I'm the host, Michael Haspin, here with the legendary underground producer and rapper that is produced for Denzel Curry, 21 Savage, Lil B, Space Ghost Bird, Black Crate, Chief Keef, and was formerly in Scheme Posse and Doomset, now in Ghetto Mob Records. This is rapper and producer DJJT. Thank you for coming on to the show. I'm very glad to have you on here. I'm a big fan. And what you been up to recently?
What's good, bro? Appreciate you. Appreciate you for bringing me on here. I've been on the same wave, creating, doing music and all that. Like you said, ghetto mob, working on stuff with the mob and all that. Uh, Really, I've been living life though. I've been half in life, half in the music. But the music ain't never gonna stop.
Of course, and I love what like you've done with the Menace and like obviously DJ Killer C with Ghetto Mob and what other artists are in there. But talk about all the artists in Ghetto Mob and what you're really trying to push with that movement.
All right, well, shit. Off the top of the head, you already know Killer. Leader of the Ghetto Mob and all that. We got Menace, we got Southbound, we got Koshka, we got Pat, we got my boy Isaiah, man. We got a lot of heads in there. You feel me? We really just coming together on some conglomerate shit. Killer picked out everybody, hand by hand to form us, and we collabing heavy, making tapes, but then also making our own stuff. One of the main things that he did stress about putting this together was creative control. Back in our hands. He's not really leading anything on a strict type time or anything like that. He's letting us do what we do. Separately, and then come together and rock out and show out like we usually do.
Yeah, like I run a music group in a collective too, and when I hear another music artist in the collective say like I want to do my auto tune that way, I'm like that's fine, but they're gonna use the auto tune in the way that they want to use it, and at the end of the day, it's like their decision. You know what I mean? Like that's some of my respect. It's just
Right, right.
letting everyone else do their own shit. I mean, if you're picking a tape, like if you're orchestrating a tape, that makes sense to have creative control in that shit. But when it comes to someone's solo career, at the end of the day, they have control over that.
That's facts.
Yeah. Now, is this mainly like an Atlanta thing, or is it all over the place?
Oh yeah, it's definitely all over the place. Killer, he out the A, but half the other half is all on the West Coast. I know Menace for sure, and Kosh got thing in Cali. Uh, Shit, Southbound up in Seattle. And I think the rest of us is either East Coast or South. So we spread out.
And you're in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, I'm in the A. I'm based out the A.
What was it like growing up there? Like, were you in like a farther away from the city, or are you like right in the city?
No, I'm in the A, but I ain't grow up here. I grew up on the East Coast,
Like, where at?
Delaware.
You're joking. You grew up in Delaware.
Yeah, I grew up in Delaware.
Yo, I've born and raised in Delaware. I'm
Oh
not
yeah,
I'm not joking.
what, what part?
Bear. Like I went to school in Middletown.
Oh man, you must know me. We must be from around the same way then.
What the fuck? I'm
That's
19, so I don't know how old you are, but that's actually really wild.
yeah. I'm a little bit older than you, but yeah, I'm definitely from around the way. That's dope. I ain't meet nobody from Bear from off the net. That's crazy.
Yeah, like even like dude, this is actually so like what school you go to, or do you don't have to say, but
No, I could tell you. I could tell you. I could tell you. Ain't no problem. I'm with the Duck Castle.
oh shit, yeah, I went to Apo and shit.
Okay, I fuck with Apple.
Yeah, that's what like yeah, I grew up in Bear and shit. Like I'm not there anymore because I'm like in a program like a mental health program because I'm going through some legal stuff. But
Right.
but yeah, I grew up there like my whole life, bro. Like that's fucking yeah. There's nobody in the underground from Delaware. Like even I've tried to get some heads from Delaware. Like I've gotten a bunch of people from Delaware into making music, but there's like not a good scene there, and I'm trying to build it up. Like I've tried to only interview like when I first came up, I was trying to interview like only Delaware rappers, but at the end of the day, like I was like I had to go and find this funk shit, and then everybody was asking me to do like funk and horrorcore and underground interviews, and like that's what I ended up doing. But when I started off, bro, it was all Delaware heads. Like like it's wild. Like, do you know any Delaware rappers that like you're a fan of or not really?
I ain't gonna lie, I know older Delaware rappers that I'm a fan of, like Bobby Dimes, Shiz Nitty. You know what I mean? Dudes from like that was rapping heavy 10 years ago and all that.
You gotta put me on because like I only know like the high school kids. Like you probably have this untapped knowledge that I want to know about.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know a little bit about some roundaway rappers, but you know what I mean. The real way that I got plugged in and seen and all that, and discovering all the stuff that influenced me is off the net. That's why when I started making music and all that, you know what I mean. I worked with some few people around the way. Like I got some boys up in Belvedere that I work with on the regular, but everything else been on the net, and that's really been the sparking point for everything else that's been going on music wise. Cause like you said, like you probably know, not too many people is hip on funk out here. You know what I mean, 10 years ago and all that when I really got started. So the only people that was really up on that shit was people off the net, and then that's how I ran into Killer. You know what I mean? The rest is history.
Yeah, like a lot of people from like Delaware. I don't know how you feel about this, but they try to sound like Philly. Like they try to sound like Quilly and Core and like Lee Ford and shit. And
Oh yeah,
it's like, what are we doing here? Let's try and be original. I like Philly. I'm a big fan of like old PNB. Like when he was like doing stuff with like Core and he was like
yeah.
PNB
R&B
Teen.
1, 2, and 3. I fucked with P&B heavy on them tapes.
Yeah, because I like had a like one of my friends. He owned a store called. His dad owns a store called Philly Cuts, and he put me on to like a bunch. He was like we grew up in like West Philly or whatever. Well, he grew up in Delaware, but his family's from West Philly. So like he put me on to all this like drill like Philly shit, and then like I would go to school and people would ask me like what do you listen to, and I'm like Lee Ford, I'm like Core. They're like, what the fuck? How you hear about that? And all these like Philly kids would like be so surprised. Like I look like fucking Young Lean and I'm listening to that shit. But like I go to the studio and I like listen to like because everyone from Delaware is from like fucking Chester and shit. Like it's annoying, but they all like just sound like Delaware. Like they all sound like Delaware County Philly rappers, and I'm like, man, like I'm the only one doing different shit. Like you know what I mean? Like it's annoying. But like, why'd you move to Atlanta? Was it like a family thing or what happened?
It's a music thing. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like I said, the music thing wasn't really popping off. Like, you know what I mean? Delaware don't really got a music scene. It's nowhere I could really throw my music to or throw stuff to. There ain't venues like that out here or nothing. So the next closest thing to me is the A, because I did come up off a lot of music from the A. You know what I mean? Rich Kids, Brick Squad, you know what I mean? All that type of stuff. So that's why I wanted to go and check out for a minute. You know what I mean? I felt like it was my third home. You know what I mean? My second home being New York, but my third home being the A, because of what I, you know what I mean, listened to coming up as a kid and the culture and all that. So that's why I dipped out there once I got it, my first chance to really.
So, like, did you go to Atlanta, like, the prime Atlanta? Like, did you go, like, 2015, 2016? Like, when did you come to Atlanta?
I went in 13.
Oh,
I was at the beginning of 13, so I was in there prime time. She was jumping.
you lucky duck. Oh, my God, dude. That's probably why you got, like, all those, like, collaborate. You got some legendary, like, placements. How did you, what advice would you give to, like, like, youngins like me on how to network in the underground?
I'm gonna be honest with you, based off of what I went through, experience wise. A lot of the placements that I got literally been from dumping beats and people email. You know what I mean? I probably got a crazy digital footprint of dumping beats and niggas email random rappers I find and all that. But that got a low hit percentage. You know what I mean? Because man, people send email all the time. So depending on if you got a crazy connect or something, then you gonna be flooded within all them other emails they do. The best connections and all that have been from linking in person. Because, like I said, going out to the A, it gave me a lot more reach to rappers, hands on, you know what I mean, compared to anywhere else that I've been. And that hands on relationship, face to face, you can't beat that. When you in the stool with them, you know what I mean, can't beat that.
So what was your like favorite like ever creations done in like studio sessions?
Oh man, my favorite one was definitely the 21 Savage one, just for the fact that that's like one of the only times I've been there for my placement going through. You know what I mean? It's a crazy story how I even ended up there, but I pretty much handed Casino the flash drive with 2 beats on it. You know what I mean? And he put that joint in. He started playing the first one. He said, "I don't need to hear no more. Go ahead, run it. That's it. That's the one." I watched him go ahead, lay it down there, bing, and then he was like, "Okay, yeah, go ahead, call 21." And I was like, "What you mean, like on the phone?" Nah, son, walked right in, laid his verse down right there, bing, 2, 3. After that, everybody just rapped the song up. Like I never seen a song made so fast in a professional setting. Like, you know, what I mean, he just took off, and then after that, we went and watched a future video behind the scenes. It was like a movie, man. Ain't nothing more crazier than that I seen as far as putting my music or my beats into somebody's hand.
Yeah, that's oh my god, that must be like that's a legendary experience right there. Like I the best songs I've made have been like the fastest, or like sometimes it's like one or the other. Like sometimes a song like you sit with the FL file for like fucking 6 months. You don't finish it until that they don't finish that beat until like 6 months later, or it's like you do it in 20 minutes and it's done and it's perfect. It's like one or the other for me. Would you relate or not?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely feel that music ain't something that you can really put a time on. You know what I mean? It just gotta flow, and when it flow, it come out the best.
Yeah, exactly. Now in Delaware, like what this might be weird, but like, where'd you hang out? And shit, like, did you go like Y, like in Glasgow and shit? Like, where'd you hang out at? Did you go
I ain't
Christiana
gonna,
skating rink?
I ain't gonna lie to you. If I didn't go straight to my people's area, wherever they was in town or around the way, I was just in the crib kicking it. You know what I mean? I really on this beats and video game shit. Like I really stay out the way of crazy gang. You know what I mean? I just like working on my stuff. If I'm going out for an extended period of time, it's gonna be to get some food or something, food related.
Just like RZA in the basement.
Yeah, yeah, the
Did
cooler, cooler man. That's all.
you see the Wu Tang show, the Hulu one?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was just like RZA cooking down there in the basement all day.
Yeah, that's a good show, bro. I want to see like them do another season of that because like the end when like Old Dirty Bastards like in the bar like fucking shit up. Like it's like yeah, that's probably how it was. Like that's wild. But like what you said your second home was New York. Like what New York artists are you a fan of?
Oh man, a plethora. My peoples are from New York, and you know what I mean. Just been my life going up and down there every other weekend. That's why I say it's my second home. I feel like I was raised in both. You know what I mean. I'll be up there every other week, but I listened to a whole bunch of old New York rap from my dad. You know what I mean. He collected that and all that, so he had a crazy catalog. By the time I started picking up my own music, like in middle school, and I had a whole bunch of 90s, 80s rap to listen to, the classics, you know what I mean? Real pure hip hop. You know what I mean? That's why I'm a hip hop head, like to the fullest, man, when it comes to this. You know what I mean? I ain't in it for the fashion or entertainment part. I'm in it for the core dynamics of hip hop. But I grew up off that. I grew up off my mom, too. My mom's music is all over the place because she, you know what I mean? She's Dominican. So we listen to a whole bunch of different type of music, you know what I mean? Not just rap, but world music, all different kinds. I had a nice little, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
coming up. My mom was a choir singer, you know what I mean. Like music is all up and down my family.
Yeah, like I know like I like what you were saying about like you're not about the fashion like stuff like everyone like in the underground like in a different part of the underground like you're on the good corner of the underground, you're on the good side, the light, you know what I mean, like but there's another crowd that like they put on the shiesty mask and they make songs like Yeet and they wear a fucking like I hate like I don't like there's the one thing that I interviewed like Lil Kane. He was like, I hate cosplay rappers, cosplay funk rappers, or whatever. And I like yeah, like I hate that shit too. Like I'm not gonna talk about like what my legal stuff is about, but it's like real like shit. And I just do like stuff that I like. Like this shit's ingrained in my blood. Like I've been listening to the same fucking music since I was like 3 years old, and I'm gonna make music and document journalistically that this type of like the hard shit, like finger on the trigger. You know what I mean? Like that's a good example. That's a good like I was like listening to that shit all week, and I was like, man, let me hit up DJJT because like that's my favorite beat I ever heard you make, in my opinion.
I
But
appreciate that.
it's insanely good. Like what was inspired that, and like what was it like making that beat?
I ain't gonna lie, man. if we talk about the inspirational beat, to go back to what you said, man, yeah, funk is that within itself. You know what I mean? It's a vibe and it's something that you can, you know what I mean, you can make something that's reverencing it, you know what I mean? But unless you was in the 90s, inside of that era of funk, you know what I mean, that's the purest one right there. So I feel like everything that we making and been making been more to reverence those people. You know what I mean? From the influence we grab. Like I said, we all grew up off of, you know what I mean, Brick Squad trap and all that. We just meshing that together, our current youngster state with that old reverence that we doing to them back in the day. But like I say, for that specifically, that track "Finger on the Trigger," is really like a '90s gritty joint. Like I said, tapping into that influence. You know what I mean? I'm influenced from the East Coast, the darker sounds, the heavy drums. You know what I mean? So I implemented that sound on top of the 3-6 sample. You already know, and then Curse came through latest vocals, man. Shout out to Curse. Yeah, it came together beautifully, West Coast, East Coast style.
Yeah, it's a very good blend. Like I can hear like the sort of like the gritty, like, you know what I mean, like kind of RZA style production, and then you got like the fucking like, and another thing, like a lot of good old Memphis tapes, like if you listen to Holocaust Click, a lot of the good songs they did have like kind of boom bap feel to them because they didn't like quite know what the fuck their sound was. So even everyone like thinks that like every old Memphis song sounds like Break the Law or like Michio Maker, and it's like no, like a lot of the times they didn't even really know their sound, and they just kind of tried to make some boom bap, and a lot of like good Memphis stuff is boom bap as well. Like it's not just the DR6 or Boss DR660. Like I like, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of good boom bap Memphis shit that people don't want to talk about.
I feel what you're saying. A whole lot come off the top of my head, like Portrait of a Serial Killer. They got a track on there, Law Infamous, and DJ Paul did some shit that was boom back. You know what I mean? And they also got another track on there that sound kind of, you know what I mean, NWA style. So I feel like
Yeah.
it's more so they influenced by their times because that's mad early '90s rap right there. So they taking all of them sounds from the early '90s and they also implement, you know what I mean, because they got the radio too back then, so they was hearing that NWA Tupac come up, but then they was also listening to East Coast boom bap on the radio. You know what I mean? They was kids too. They was influenced around the same age we got started. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like Tom Ski Mask Animosity, even though the kicks are really advanced at the time, like that beat is like very like it's kind of like it's got that bounce to it. You know what I mean? And what's another one? A lot of them would sample NWA, like especially like the any like Dope Man or Eight Ball, or like a lot of they would sample a lot of the same shit, or just like old Ghetto Boys too. A lot of them like were rap like the Ghetto Boys because the Ghetto Boys were on another level of being influential, like, you know,
No, that's facts. That's facts.
or like how they influenced like ICP because a lot of old ICP sounds like Ghetto Boys. I don't know if you know what I mean.
I don't listen to too much ICP, but I know what you mean by the sounds.
Yeah, I don't really listen to that much, but I respect what they've built. Like, I was in the car with someone who's like one of those like only listens to Atlanta music, only listens to like or just Southern music. Like they only listen to like Young Boy and like Gucci Mane, and I was like, "You don't listen to ICP?" And she was like, "No," but you know that there's a lot of people that listen to ICP, and she was like, "Yeah, but I'm not gonna listen to them." And I was like, "Yeah, that's right, because their fan base will nobody will ever have a fan base as devoted as them for a long time in the rap game. That's just a fact." I don't know if you
Word,
agree.
word.
But anyways, fucking, what's your favorite like artist or genre to sample?
Um, that's a hard question. I like sampling mad shit. I ain't gonna lie. I sample a good amount of video games when I first started out. I know that was one thing that me and Killer was doing heavy when we was blending our funk. We was blending them video game samples too, making some shit that sound different. Um, but I don't know. I'm willing to sample anything, man. You'd be surprised by some of the stuff I sample in my stuff. One day I'm gonna probably do some beat breakdowns. It's something I want to get into to show people exactly how I made what. But yeah, I sample pretty much anything, man. Anyway, you guys, anybody, I sample the most random shit.
Yeah, like you gotta really go outside the box when you find that shit. Like I've been sampling like Burzum and like black metal and like noise music. Like I started off like just going in the drum kit and finding the chop that was already there, like ready made for me. And then I started hearing like songs that sample the same shit that I'm sampling, and I'm like, oh no, yikes, no, I can't have that. And then I started like to realize like, oh, I got to do some different shit. You know what I mean? But when
That's
did you
facts.
when did you start realizing like your beats were like really good? Like when did you say you first got good at making beats? Like back when?
And I'll say I got good at making beats when people stopped trying to change what I made. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When they try to give advice on what I could have changed and all that, that kind of stopped. I want to say about a year after I got to the A. You know what I mean? That's when, you know what I mean, I had my boy. He was pretty much my go to when it came to the beat critiques because he rapped. You know what I mean? So he was like, I don't know how to make beats, but I'm gonna show you how a rapper gonna like it. You know what I mean? So he pretty much would just show me like where the drops are preferred. You know what I mean? What would sound good. One thing he taught me was not to load the beat up. You know what I mean? Don't make that thing too full. Let it breathe sometimes, depending on what you're making. If it's instrumental for someone to use or not. But if it was someone to use, yeah, let that thing breathe. Uh, yeah, man. Shout out to my boy Major. He uh he pretty much helped me get out of that stuck point, like you said, when I knew that they were good for sure. After him, another rapper wouldn't want to change the beat up at all. They like it how it is.
Yeah, yeah. Like I show my beats to sometimes like people that like don't know about this underground shit that I'm trying to push, and they're like, "That's a good beat, but stop with the in the background." And I'm like, "That's the whole point. Is to chop and screw vocals, and then go in after that shit starts." And they're like, "Oh, why don't you just make it sound like E, bro? Like get the synths and bells." And I'm just like, "Nah, bro. I'm good. I like my shit." And then when I show it to people that know what I'm doing, it's like, yeah, like I don't know, like it's hard to like make shit that's like slightly unique and people to like it. And when you've done it successfully, that's when you know you're on the right path. You know what I mean?
The best way I could say about that is keep making what you want to make, and then also make some stuff that you think other people will like. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If you're trying to go the beat placement route, you can do both at the same time, and you just keep the ones onto the side of the gems that you know they ain't gonna understand, and you just show them the ones that you think is their flavor or their tempo.
Yeah, like I was about to work with the King Groceries, but it's the money issue. You know what I mean? And then I sent him this like a dark trap. Like I specifically picked him a dark trap beat because I know that like that's what he pushes, and he uses the same like all his producers use the same Ogun uh, presets like on FL. Like it's like that one like dark synth thing that's used in like Terror Gang by Space Ghost Pro. Like it's specific. So I was like, yeah, I gotta pick that shit for like paying groceries. And he literally asked me, pick a dark trap beat. And I was like, all right, sure. Like I'm not gonna give you some experimental shit. Like,
Right.
um, how do you work with Space Ghost Pro? Like that's one thing I want to know. I'm a big fan.
I just hit him up for that deal right there. You know, he would always be advertising his deals and all that. But you know, what I mean, I had to take advantage when I knew that it would be Gucci. You feel me? He already knew me through KOV and Mook and all that. But I'm a type of dude that always pay for everything. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to my music and my craft. I'm not gonna turn down investing in myself. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
definitely hit him up for that feature, that deal and all that. And he hooked me up with the vocals as well. And you know what I mean, everything got put together as like a collab track. You know what I mean? Production, vocals, all that.
So did you say Mook? Do you mean Soldier Mook or FHN whatever the fuck Mook? That guy.
Soldier Mode.
Oh,
Yeah, Cave of Vibe.
shout out to him. Yeah, you have a lot of
Bat
songs on
Cave,
there.
yeah. Yeah. He the one that brought me into the underground through Batcave. That's how me and Killer met.
Oh man, yeah, you have that song with Black Cray, man. Like, shout out to him. I'm a huge fan of him. Like I'm like I listen to, like
You
all his
said
mixtapes.
who?
Black Cray. Well, I mean Soldier Mook
I,
and Killer C too, obviously.
I said Batcave.
Oh, Batcave. I see you said Black Cray.
Bat,
I'm sorry.
I know
Oh,
you good. You good.
because I like in the mental program I have a MP3 player and I have Let me show you one of these mixtapes on here that you're gonna recall and you're gonna be like, oh my god, it's like with DJ Killer C and a bunch of people. It's like Black Funk or some shit. I forget, but it's a mixtape that you're on. You're also on Cursed's old mixtape because I had to go in depth. Yeah, DJ Killer C. Yeah, Black Funk. Do you remember that mixtape?
Yeah, I do.
When was that made? And was that like one of the first collabs you did, or was that like a little later down the line?
Shit, Black Funk. I want to say that was while we was in KOV. Um, if not while we were in and around that era. Um, and yeah, I think I remember the song that was on that whole that we did. I know it was a collab that we had a few people on my beat, and I think I went at the end or something. I'd have to go back and say, you know the name of the track? You got it?
Let me see. Let me see this shit. Which song is it? There's a lot of. Is it Scorpion's Lair or no?
Nah, it ain't Scorpion's Lair. If you tell me the title, I know. I know we got a few of us on there. I want to say Daffy was on there too.
I don't know. Let me see. I don't know. There's a lot of tracks. They don't show the features and shit on it, but
Okay. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a
I
good
was on a
mixtape.
lot of killer tapes, man. I'm on a lot of killer tapes. We worked heavy throughout our whole career.
Dat
Shouts out
Piff
to that
era.
boy.
Dat Piff era, bro. Like that's where I found that from, bro. Like that's what I miss. I miss Spinrilla and Dat Piff when you'd go to like find like Young Thug's newest mixtape would be on Spinrilla, and everyone had Spinrilla or SoundCloud, but now everyone has fucking Spotify and everyone's botting streams and shit. It's like
Yeah, I hate that streaming shit. I ain't gonna lie to you. That shit's so complicated.
yeah, and there's no interactive like Spotify is cool. You got the playlist, but at the end of the day, SoundCloud is the best because it's the most interactive. Or like you can speak to people, you can comment. It's a good user. It's a good like website to just like talk to people and shit and work on shit like. And everyone like puts their shit on Spotify and thinks that like they're on a label. It's like no, you pay $10 a year for DistroKid. Chill out, like kid, like humble. Like SoundCloud was good because it humbled people, and you got to see exactly how many plays you got and how many likes. Like that's like I still use SoundCloud. Like, do you still use SoundCloud or like what do you use to listen to music?
Yeah, I still use SoundCloud. I ain't never gonna give up on SoundCloud.
Yeah, it's free.
Not only is it free, I mean it's where what I mean. I got started. Yeah, I don't want to drop it just because other people say it ain't in no more. It ain't no fad. One of my favorite places to drop projects. You know what I mean? Because it's easy to access. You can go track by track. You can comment your favorite part. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Spotify can't do that.
Yeah, and like I just that's what got me to make music. I was like I was at like a film workshop type of thing, and I was working on a soundtrack for like a short film. And my friend Killzan or Stefan, he went by a different name at the time. He was like, "Yo, check out this XXX Tentacion shit." This is 2017. I was 13, and I was like, "All right, word." And then I was like, "Fuck, let's do it. Let's like put this music on SoundCloud." And then in 2017, I put out my first shit. Like that's the funnest. That's the fun phase is when you. That's the funnest thing is when you first put some shit out. Like you know what I mean?
Right.
Like when was the first time you ever published any form of music ever online?
If we getting technical with it, I had a sound click, and like when Facebook first came out, you could upload music to a page. So I would be uploading beats to a Facebook page, just a few, and then I went to SoundClick and I like dumped like 50 beats on there. And then yeah, that's the first time I didn't do nothing with it, but give it to certain people here and there. But yeah, that was the first time I uploaded stuff. I really went from that SoundClick to SoundCloud, like swift jump.
That's like the golden. That's you're an old head, bro. Sorry, but I'm just saying. But that's wild because yeah, I was just like watching a Soldier Boy interview and he was like, I was making 25K a day on SoundClick, and it's like, damn, bro. Like yeah, I looked it up and I started like even my friends started putting it up and it's like yeah, that's like that was before SoundCloud. Like that's and LimeWire too. Like
Yeah. I'm from that SoundClick line YL for shit show, man. Shout out to Soldier Boy. He the reason I found out about FL Studio was Soldier Boy Wikipedia page.
Yeah, because he was unapologetically using the stock shit. Like he like all the drums. You can like it's so. Have you seen like the Crank That remake speed runs? They're hilarious.
Yeah, I
And
seen that joint.
that's so like it's like yeah like because it's not it's simple to make like a hit like that's inspirational when you have used the same drum that's like for free and that shit like I think even the Migos said like everybody makes music nowadays even my pool boy makes music or some shit.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's what's fun about it though. That even like it's a beautiful world we're in, and this is a beautiful interview, and we had fun, bro. This was a good talk, and this is one of my favorite interviews. We didn't talk about no serious shit. Like I could have brought up some other shit, you know what I mean, about some old music groups, but I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. But this is a good talk, bro. Stay on after I hang up or after I end the recording, and obviously links in the description to your music and all that. And bye bye.
I appreciate you, bro.